My fiancé, Daniel, was hearing. But his younger sister, Lily, was. She'd been deaf since birth, and she was the center of Daniel's world. He raised her after their parents died in a car accident when he was 19. He worked 2 jobs, skipped college, and learned American Sign Language so she'd never feel left out. That was the man I fell in love with. Responsible, loyal, selfless. So when Daniel proposed after 4 years together, I said yes without hesitation. Our wedding was set for early summer. White roses, vineyard venue, Lily as the flower girl. 3 months before the wedding, Daniel came home stressed. "Lily, been distant," he said. "I think she feels like she's losing me." That night, I made a decision that felt romantic at the time. I signed up for ASL classes. I wanted to surprise him. I wanted Lily to feel safe with me. I wanted to prove I was already family. Daniel hugged me when I told him. "You don't have to do that," he said. But something in his eyes flickered. Not gratitude. Relief. Chapter 2. The signs no one knew I understood. ASL wasn't easy. My fingers cramped. My brain burned. But I practiced every night after work, replaying videos, signing to myself in the mirror. I didn't tell Daniel how fast I was progressing. I wanted the surprise to be perfect. By month 2, I could follow full conversations. By month 3, I could understand whispers made with hands. That's when things started to feel wrong. Daniel and Lily talked a lot when they thought I wasn't watching. Short glances, quick signs, pauses when I entered the room. Once, I walked into the kitchen, and Lily stopped mid-sign. Daniel cleared his throat, just talking about wedding stuff. Lily wouldn't look at me. Her hands were shaking. Chapter 3. The first sentence that changed everything. The first time I understood something I wasn't supposed to, it felt like accidentally overhearing a private phone call. I was in the hallway, grabbing my jacket. Daniel and Lily were in the living room. Lily signed. "Are you sure she won't find out?" Daniel's hands moved quickly. "She doesn't know ASL. I told you she trusts me." My heart skipped. Lily hesitated, then signed slower. But after the wedding, Daniel looked tired. After the wedding, it won't matter. I stood frozen, jacket half on, my pulse roaring in my ears. I told myself I misunderstood. I had to. Chapter 4. What he really thought of me. From that moment, I watched. I listened with my eyes. And I learned the truth. Daniel wasn't nervous about the wedding. He was calculating. One night, Lily signed. "She's too nice." Daniel smirked. "That's why this works." Another night. "What if she changes her mind?" Daniel's response crushed me. "She won't. She needs this family too much." Needs. Not loves. Not chooses. Needs. Chapter 5. The sentence that stopped my heart. 2 weeks before the wedding, I came home early from work. Daniel didn't hear me enter. He and Lily were on the couch. Lily's hands trembled as she signed. "I feel bad." Daniel exhaled sharply. "Don't." She swallowed. "She thinks you love her." Daniel leaned forward and signed the sentence that ended my engagement. "I love what she provides, not her." I felt my legs give out. I pressed my hand to the wall to stay upright. Lily signed one more question. The worst one. If Mom and Dad were alive, would they approve? Daniel didn't hesitate. They'd understand. Family comes first. Chapter 6. The plan I did tell anyone about. I didn't cry. Not that night. I walked into the bedroom like nothing happened. I kissed Daniel goodnight. I said I loved him. Then I lay awake until morning. I didn't cancel the wedding. I redesigned it. Daniel thought I was being calm because I trusted him. In reality, I was documenting everything. I recorded videos of their conversations when possible. I saved text messages. I spoke to a lawyer. Quietly, I learned something interesting. The house Daniel lived in my name. The savings account. Joint, mostly funded by me. The startup he helped build. My idea, my capital. He never loved me. But he built his future on me. Chapter 7, the wedding day. The venue was perfect. Guests smiled, music played, white petals lined the aisle. Daniel stood at the altar, confident. Lily sat in the front row, eyes full of guilt. When it was time for vows, Daniel spoke first. He talked about sacrifice, loyalty, family. I smiled. Then it was my turn. I took a breath and began signing. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Daniel's face drained of color. I signed every word slowly, clearly. Daniel, I learned your language because I loved you. Lily covered her mouth. I learned it because I wanted to be family. Daniel whispered, stop. I didn't. But in your language, I learned the truth. I turned to Lily. You asked if I would find out. The room went silent. I did. Then I looked back at Daniel and signed the final sentence. Family does come first, and I choose myself. Chapter 8, Aftermath. The wedding didn't happen, but the consequences did. Daniel lost the house, the company, the money. Lily moved out and started therapy. She later apologized. I forgave her. Daniel tried to contact me. Voicemails, emails, letters. I blocked them all. Months later, I saw him working at a grocery store. He looked smaller, quieter. I walked past him. He signed something as I passed. I'm sorry. I didn't stop. I didn't respond. Because the loudest answer is silence. Epilogue. People ask me why I learned sign language. I tell them. It taught me how to listen and how to walk away. I thought walking away from the altar would be the hardest thing I'd ever do. I was wrong. The hardest part came after. When the music stopped. When the guests went home. When the shock wore off. And the consequences began. Chapter 9, the night after the wedding that never was. That night, I stayed alone in a hotel suite I had paid for months in advance. Still wearing the dress. I sat on the edge of the bed and stared at my hands, the same hands that had learned a language of love and then learned betrayal through it. My phone buzzed nonstop. Unknown numbers. Friends asking what happened. Daniel's messages, dozens of them. I didn't open a single one. Because if I did, I knew I might hear the old version of myself beg for an explanation. And I refused to meet her again. Chapter 10, the truth comes out. By morning, the story was already spreading. But not the version Daniel wanted. One of my bridesmaids had filmed the vows. Another guest posted a clip online. No sound, just me signing and Daniel going pale. The internet did the rest. People wanted to know. Why did the bride suddenly sign? Why did the groom look terrified? Why did the wedding stop? So I told the truth. Not emotionally. Not angrily. Factually. I explained how I learned ASL for love. How I overheard conversations not meant for me. How I discovered I was being used, financially, emotionally, strategically. And I shared proof. The world didn't see a runaway bride. They saw a woman who listened. Chapter 11, Daniel finally speaks. 3 days later, Daniel showed up at the house. My house. I watched him through the security camera before letting him in. He looked exhausted. Older. When I opened the door, he tried to speak, but I raised my hand. No, I said calmly, you don't get to use your voice anymore. His eyes filled with panic. So I signed. Talk to me the way you talked about me. He flinched. Slowly, shakily, he signed. I didn't mean for it to go this far. I laughed. That's the funny thing, I said aloud. You meant every step, you just didn't mean to get caught. He tried again. I was scared of losing Lily. I stepped closer. You were scared of losing control. He had nothing left to sign. So I closed the door. Chapter 12, Lily's Confession. A week later, Lily asked to meet me alone. We sat in a cafe. She signed carefully, like every word weighed a ton. I thought he loved you in his own way. I nodded. I thought that too. Tears streamed down her face. He said marriages are partnerships, that love grows later. I took a deep breath. Love doesn't grow from lies. She told me everything. How Daniel planned to put the company fully in his name after marriage. How he expected me to settle into a supportive role. How he promised her stability as long as I stayed obedient. Lily signed one final sentence. I'm sorry I helped him hurt you. I signed back. You didn't start this, but you don't have to continue it. That day, she chose independence. It cost her her brother, but it saved her soul. Chapter 13, the final legal move. The lawsuit wasn't dramatic. It was surgical. Contracts, documents, receipts. Daniel had assumed love made me blind. But love had made me prepared. The judge ruled in my favor. Everything Daniel thought he'd secured through marriage. Gone. He lost access to the business. He lost claim to the property. He lost credibility. His reputation followed him everywhere. Silently. Like sign language. Chapter 14, when I saw him again. Months later, I saw Daniel at a grocery store. Stocking shelves. No ring. No confidence. No audience. He recognized me instantly. Our eyes met. He signed. I was wrong. I nodded. He signed again. I really did love you. I just realized too late. That's when I understood something important. Regret is not the same as love. I signed one last time. Love doesn't arrive after exposure. And I walked away. Chapter 15, Who I Became. I moved. Started fresh. I kept learning ASL, not for him, not for Lily, but for myself. I began volunteering. Teaching. Telling my story. Women reached out to me from everywhere. Some heard Betrayal. Some signed it. All of them recognized it. I didn't lose a fiancé. I lost an illusion. And I gained my voice. In every language. Epilogue, the quiet power of understanding. People still ask me if I hate Daniel. I don't. Hate is loud. I chose something stronger. Clarity. Because the day I learned sign language was the day I learned how to listen. And the day I walked away was the day I finally spoke.